typically the people who are at my sort of stage, might have done anywhere between 10 to 20 years experience. There are people on the line who work on the line and quite happy to stay there till they retire. We have ceremonies where we recognise people who've done a lot of time, and even last week there was people who've done 50 years within Jaguar Land Rover. But generally we get like people 30, 40 years always getting recognised. But if you want to get up, if you want to get up in the world, some of the senior managers might have done a good sort of 25, 30 years in the role. So the thing about Jaguar, it's that big. There is scope for everyone, all different levels of abilities, all different skills, capabilities and ages.
Oh, well, as I say, it's not just the way I see it. Sometimes they could look on it, that's a lot to build up, but I'm sure if you got that motivation behind you, and you're not a lazy sod, and you know that you can do it and stuff, I don't see why you'd have a problem with getting there. I mean, okay, some struggle more than others, that's just how it is, but I mean, if you're determined to it, and then they can see that you're determined, I don't see the problem why the bosses wouldn't mind giving you a promotion eventually of getting up to that place.
Well, obviously, being promoted, you need two things, don't you? You need to be someone who can set the right example and show the right sort of what we call business behaviours, and that includes working hard, obviously having leadership skills, having the ability to lead by example. But the other one is obviously your technical skills. You need to be capable. You couldn't just say you work hard and you've been here for a while just to give you a job as an engineer. You need to have ability as well. It's a mixture of both. But I think one thing that's recognised not only in Jaguar Land Rover but any industry, people who work hard generally do well. And working hard and being flexible is the most important thing.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with that. But as we say, if you want to do something, learning from example, if you want to do something, show determined, impress the bosses. And just a quick one while we're on the topic. I know the dress code's an important one as well, but I know that there are some places that are a lot stricter. But how are they about having a clean face, or are they bothered if you got a big beard, or how do they look on that?
No, I mean, Jaguar Land Rover is a diverse sort of company. It accepts diversity and equal opportunity, etc., etc., and it's very keen on promoting that, making sure that message gets across. So there are plenty of people with all kinds of what I would class as strange beards, hair, looks, things in their ears, metal here, there and everywhere. It doesn't matter, as long as it doesn't get in the way of the car, because obviously the product's the main thing. And actually, damage is one of the things that can obviously ruin a car. And if you scratch your car with bits of metal, it can cost a lot of time to repair it. So as long as you wear the right protective equipment and you protect the car, depending on where you are, there's no problem with what you look like, okay? But there is a strict uniform, and obviously a big company like Jaguar will always provide you uniform, and you do have to wear company uniform, as any major organisation will make you do.
Not just that though, as well, as you recently got a new Jaguar Land Rover. It's not just what you wear, but driving the car, what represents where you work as well. That's also quite important as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there is, and there are schemes there which encourage you to obviously buy Jaguar Land Rovers, and they are quite generous, some of the schemes. And let's face it, the cars, they are at the luxury end of the market, so they're not going to be the cheapest cars, and they are very desirable. But they are, very nice cars, and as you know, because you've had a little, I wouldn't say driving it, because we're nowhere near letting you do that yet, but you've been in it, and as you know, it is a nice car.
Yeah, it is a nice car. No, and talking about someone with long hair, we know we do have one listener today. Tom Bentham, what is going on, mate? What are you doing to yourself at that style? You trying to be Led Zeppelin or someone? Come on, man, sort it out. I just thought I'd just get that out there so everyone can agree with me and push that message on. Much be appreciated. But anyway, then continue on now with some of my dad's favourite music. This is Just Us, Cloud Bustin'. That was the track from Just Us. It's called Cloud Busting. Very smooth, actually, kind of like that one. A bit mellow compared to what I like, but I still like it, though. It's pretty good. It goes with the sunshine that we're having outside now, anyway. But anyway, then, back on topic. We are back in the studio on Liverpool Community Radio, coming at you live from Kensington. And we were just talking about before about different job roles for beginners, and continuing on with the topic. Also, what would you say on the apprenticeships, as well as just starting in the job? What about apprenticeships? What would you recommend for young people on apprenticeships?
What would I recommend?
Yeah.
Well, I'd recommend Jaguar Land Rover, obviously. Actually, it's quite apt you mention that, because we've actually in our department we've just received an apprentice. Every year, Jaguar is quite keen on obviously recruiting apprentices. And we've got a young girl in our department. If she's out there, Ellie Power, there you go. There's a shout out to you, as they say on the radio. And she joined as an apprentice. She's been there a year, so you go around the factory and you sort of do different jobs for a little bit just to get an idea of what it's about, and then they actually place you with a department so you can learn a particular skill. But it's not just the manufacturing business, the engineering business. You can do purchasing and finance. You got apprenticeships with them. So the company are quite keen to get apprentices on board because, you know, while you're still learning, and she's going away and she's, you know, going to university and she's given time off to go to university. I mean, she's like in 2 weeks' time. She's got a whole week where she goes to University of Warwick and she actually spends a week learning. And that's what we do with our engineers and our apprenticeship. So it's supported well. You get paid. It's a really good business for getting an apprentice with.
Ah, right, because I know some people in the past have, you know, went straight to the army as soon as they left school at 16. But normally they say if you're a bit on the ASBO side of life, you know, no, I can say it, but I'm not going to mention it while we're on air. It wouldn't be appropriate. But no, obviously, of course, like sometimes the army will straighten them out and teach them things, you know, and mature them quicker because they're motivated, they're disciplined. But what would you say about the apprenticeship? Say if someone on 16 on the ASBO side went into Jaguar Land Rover apprenticeships, do you think it would maybe help sort them out as well? Or
Jaguar is quite a prestigious company, and you know, it's not a business that just takes all kinds of waifs and strays. I mean, there are people there who, you know, maybe not have the most fortunate of circumstances, and they are employed, maybe not getting an apprenticeship, because to get an apprenticeship, you know, you do sort of need to show that you're either you know, reasonably successful or willing to be prepared to work really hard, you know, maybe at university at that kind of level. You know, I mean, what you're talking about there in the army and straighten people, I mean, that is a throwback to quite a few years ago where I remember people saying you had a choice during the army, I'd go to jail or join the army, and it was off to war. But that's when, you know, people in the army were more like cannon fodder, you know, 100 years or so ago. Apprenticeships, you know, they're not just given out willy-nilly. You know, there are some which have to be worked harder, but with the working hard, the rewards are plenty.
Yeah, well, of course, most definitely. I mean, I know when you start in the 80s, it's going to be different now to 2017, of course, with the generation nowadays. But, like, talking about the army, when you left in 2008, what jobs and roles did you have before you started Jaguar in between that time gap?
Well, between 2008 and 13, obviously 5 years. So I basically had 3 different roles. One was as a production manager in a company that made environmental monitoring equipment, which is Tranmere. And then I spent 3 years as a project manager. And strangely enough, it was like came full circle because I was project managing the development of sort of thermal sites and optical systems, the kind of thing I used to repair in the army. And it was a defence company based in St Asaph in Wales near Rhyl. So it was a world-leading one, and you know, we used to sort of compete with some of the other sort of top companies who were obviously making that kind of equipment. We used to supply to all major military sort of military bodies. The UK was a big one. We used to supply lots of like head-up displays to aircraft companies, BAE and all that sort of stuff. So it was quite an interesting time, but again, it was another demanding role as sort of any kind of management was. And then I've ended up in a role in Bolton for three months, which was a bit unfortunate because I was promised quite a significant role and quite a prosperous future, but it didn't quite turn out that way. And as with anyone, suffered a bit of bad luck, and within 3 months I was released, and that's why I then spent a bit of time looking for a role and came across Jaguar Land Rover.
That sounds interesting. Well, you know, and also what makes it sound interesting, like with your role, it's not like that you just stuck around Liverpool. It's like you've been to quite a few places, as you say, Boston, Wales. You know, it's not just that. Sorry, not Boston. Bolton, yeah, Boston. I don't know where the heck in the earth I
didn't commute to America.
No, definitely not the USA. Right, but you know, it's not just that. And what makes it more interesting, no, always when you're sticking around the same place, some people like to travel and maybe try working in different places. Even though I could imagine it's more of a pain trying to travel to and more knackering with longer drives.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the military, they get out and they sort of a base where a lot of the bigger army camps are, and there's not many in the northwest, to be honest. But maybe some of the people who are listening to this are not aware. There's actually quite a